watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
It is Monday. You know what time it is. It is time for Chopping It Up with Roger Cador. Of course, he's Roger Cador. I'm Perry White and my man on the board, my guy, Garrett Edgerson. And we want to thank you guys for joining us for another episode. Hit that subscribe button right there to become a subscriber of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, as you can be able to catch us each and every week as we talk about any and everything. We were just sitting here talking about, before the show got started, I was asking Coach about the haircuts. And he was telling me he used to rock a fro back in the day, Coach.
I don't see the subscribe button on it. Where is it?
That's because we are already on here as us.
Okay,
so when you on there as you can't subscribe because you already on there.
Well, I wanted to make sure. I'm looking, I'm saying, where's the subscribe button he's talking about?
Well, tell us the subscribers right there. Okay. But yeah, we was talking about hair because I was asking you about hair because, you know, I have the dreads, you rock the bald head, so it's a complete contrast. But you said back in the day you rocked the fro.
Yes, I did, Perry, if that make you happy.
It does make me happy because I think you kind of shy away from the hair talk. You don't really too much like the longer hair, but it's interesting of the era of the 70s. What was so symbolic about the fro during those times?
Well, it sent a signal about pride and dignity and that you meant something to the brotherhood. You know, it was a point that you went against the system. Mm-hmm. You were not for the system that suppressed and deprived so many African Americans. And I think that's what it was saying to me, that I wasn't going to be a part of it. I was going to stand up for my rights and righteousness.
At what point for you as a young man coming from small town Louisiana, did you start to realize the ways of the world when you talk about that system and made you realize, you know what, I won't stand for that?
Well, it started earlier because, you know, I was one of those 15-year-old young men that go and protest where stores or businesses would not hire African Americans. We picketed them. We call them picketed then back then, but we marched and you know what? I think about it now and what I'm most proud about, because the older men had to go to work, they left young people in charge of doing this work. Mm-hmm. And we had to be organized and disciplined and stay the course and do exactly what was told to us to do. And now when I think about it, I'm proud because at 15 and 16, we did just so.
And I like that because I look at the generation today, they don't really stand on the same, I guess, I won't say morals or values, but principles, I would say. They kind of let things slide. They kind of just shoo it to the side, kind of distracted by so much more. But it's interesting what you said, because the younger generation stood up for something and realized it. And it was harder for the parents during that time because they had to go work for the very system that was oppressing them.
That's right. So they couldn't afford to be there doing that work. So they left it up to us. In the particular situation I was involved in. And that's when, like I said, at the time, I never really thought about how important it was that we were trustworthy and disciplined, and we did just so, and we didn't get out of line. We did all of the things that we were told to do. So, yeah, but today's generation is different. You know, they're not gonna, it's hard to get young people to go do what we did.
Oh, man.
It's difficult because they have other agenda, other things on their plate. They have 99 other things to do, and that ain't one of them.
I like that one. You know, you being a coach for over 30 years, and you went through generations after generations of young people. How did you keep up as you saw each generation change from the 80s all the way into the 2000s, man? Because you saw complete change with each one of those.
Well, I sort of, you know, people got to understand you have to recruit kids that you figured or feel can work in your system. I mean, I wasn't going to go recruit a radical kid because then we were going to clash. I wanted guys who were going to conform, follow basic, simple system that I was going to put in place, that I had in place, and that led to a lot of people being successful. Those are the kind of people I wanted. I wanted kids who wanted a degree. Academic was a problem, that they were disciplined. I got those kind of kids. Did I take some kids that were a little out of the box? Certainly I did. There was a reason. You don't want to judge people until you give them a chance. You see, so we did take some people, and we were able to get them because I had good young people. You know, again, I was thinking about a young man. Coach called me, wanted me to help him do something with his team. And I thought about my teams. After I developed a system and I had older kids, junior, seniors, and I was making demand on young people, and they might have thought I was being hard. And the older players would call them in and say, hey, man, don't let Coach worry you. Coach, that's the way Coach is. You still got to do your job. Mm-hmm. Coach ain't going to worry about you if you do your job. Just play hard. That's important that they could hear that from someone within that group. You see, because now they believe Coach is okay. So that's the kind of stuff, Perry, that's is so interesting how you build organization. You have to have people within that organization selling the things you can't when it needs to be sold. In the middle of the night in the dormitory, you need someone telling them the things they need to hear.
And it's important because as a coach, you also at the same time are a father figure to a lot of these young men as you trying to groom them up to be men. And when it starts with the coach, like you said, you had to stand up at a young age and realize and grow up a lot faster because of a system that you were going against. But to be a father figure for so many years, how pressing is that, especially sometime when, like you said, you go out and you get a young man that may be misguided or may not necessarily misguided, but comes from a tough background, but you see the potential in them and you just got to mold and what they say, turn that diamond from a rough into a diamond.
Well, Perry, I tell you, you'll be surprised. I consider it to be quite a pleasure to have to do that. Were there challenging times? Certainly there were. But the thing is, I had more issues dealing with some administrators than with the kids. And the kids knew that I was fighting for them.
Yeah.
So it made it a lot easier for me to get them to buy into what we were trying to do.
Because we were all in this together.
We were all in this together. They weren't crazy. They saw them being denied. They knew that they were winning and doing a lot of things and wasn't getting the love that they should have been gotten. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I never made it an issue. I kept saying, guys, we got to keep doing it. Doesn't matter. Let's just keep doing it, you know. And I tell you, I was able to develop a lot of wonderful young people who are out there doing good things out in the world, making the world a better place. I just got a call on Friday about how many of my former players are coaching just in the city of Atlanta.
Really?
Yes, and involved with baseball. I'm talking about with the amateur side of it, college, high school, and then in the summer leagues. And then if you talk about all of the people I have on the professional level, mm-hmm. I mean, this has just been one beautiful situation. And the other part is, I've got a bunch of my former players who are umpiring. I have one of them to umpire in the big league, Damian Beal. Beal was an umpire in the major league. You know how tough that is? Mm-hmm. And we got a lot of them on the college level, high school, just doing a great job. And they're spreading the message. They're spreading the love that we develop at Southern and cultivated there. It's all over.
You know, it was interesting what you said, and sometimes your biggest fight be the people that you think are supposed to be on your side. And like you just said, administrators, you in a position going out, educating young people, bringing them to the institution, and showing them the nation, giving them opportunities that they probably would not have gotten within their own neighborhoods. And you bring them to the very institution that can change their lives, that can open up the doors, and it's the very people at that institution giving the hardest problems.
I find out some people with degrees are the most difficult people to get them to see that we need to be able to bear yourself really naked, so to speak, to help someone. Those are the hardest people sometimes.
Do you think sometimes they forget where they come from, as they say?
Well, it's that.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason.
You think you're better than somebody.
There you go. And you got to be careful with these degrees. These people start thinking that there are more than the person without a PhD or a master's, and they're really not. They're the same people once you take that clothing off and put them against the wall.
You know, because I go back and I listen to a lot of old stories because I scour the internet for anything historical that I can find. And especially when it's historical coming back to HBCUs, in which we were founded as historically black colleges and universities that gave us opportunities to better our lives when we were not afforded the opportunities at PWIs. And when you listen to those early educators and early administrators, they meant that thing when they went out to recruit people to make sure that they gave them every single resource to build them up and show them what the world is like, but most of all, to prepare you for that world. At some point, I kind of figured, where did we go wrong when you start to see a transition of those administrators that really cared, that really wanted you to go out, and the mission wasn't about the title or the job, but it was really about the people of the institution. It seems like it's kind of changed at most places where it's not really about the people, it's kind of about me now. It's my own agenda more so than the overall mission and the agenda for everybody.
It's called integration. When integration happened, things changed. It flipped over. Before integration, black folks had no choice. They had to depend on each other. They had to help. But integration changed that. And a select few got to get in a system where they left some people behind. And they weren't going to go reach back and pull them up. And that's what happened. And that's why I'm so happy that I didn't have to be a part of integration until I was in my 20s, until I went to playing professional baseball, 22 years old. I was more prepared to handle integration then than I would have been at 14 and 15 and 16 or even 17. So, and I had learned all of the valuable things needed for survival in that mean world. Because integration was a mean world.
Yeah, I've seen the video. I can't speak personally, but watching and going back only the videos, but I can only imagine in person, Coach.
No, it's what really mean. And you know, the sad thing is when white people don't think that black people were done these ugly things. And they think that black folks should be at the same level they should be with everything financially. And when they've took everything, not the people living today, but their forefathers. They took the Indian land. They denied the black people the 40 acres that is written in the Constitution. They were denied that. Education. And they're trying to take everything out of the book that's deal with black accomplishment on a historical value level. They're trying to take it out. And or they're trying to make like the in Tulsa, Wall Street.
Yeah, the Black Wall Street.
Didn't exist. Or in Florida, or in Tennessee. That where they destroyed these black townships that were thriving. They tried to make like they didn't exist. But they do exist, you know. Or the 15,000 acres where the black man started in New Mexico, the first black family to go there, had 15,000 acres. So took their properties. All of those things were designed to keep the black person from progressing, moving forward, and leaving something for the generation behind.
You know, you being successful in quite a few Hall of Fames. I got to probably use two hands with all the Hall of Fames, but as a black man enduring all that you did, even with your book, it says Against All Odds, I think that speaks for itself, coming from small town Louisiana. How often did you get in a room, especially as a successful black coach in college baseball, where it is dominated by white males, where it almost, sometimes when you get in those rooms, you can feel that energy from them looking at you, and even with your success, have you ever been in a room where it made you, where you could tell they tried to make it feel like even with all your success, that wasn't enough because of who you are?
And it could have, but I didn't pay attention. Yeah. When my wife was alive, and she was in the room with me, she was able to see it when I wasn't. You see what I'm saying? Because I wasn't. First of all, I gave less than a dame. You know what they think, and you know it didn't matter. But you know, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. But my wife did, and I told her I never looked at it. I mean, you know, I just operate the room the way I usually always do. But I'm sure that all of those things did happen, where they felt that, what in the hell, how is he in here with us? You know, what I find out, white people, to a large extent, they feel that if a black man achieves something, he's denying a white man an opportunity. And to me, that's crazy. But that happens a lot, where they feel, oh, if you get in here and do this, you're denying some other white person an opportunity. You can't look at it from that perspective, but they do.
You know, that's interesting because Garrett and I do a lot when you talk about on the media side and athletics, and we've been to quite a few big, large events. And then you start to realize once you get credentialed to these events and you look around the room and you look at the people who have those credentials the same as you, there aren't a lot of people at all that look like us. And as you walk around, they start to look at you, and Garrett can speak on this. They'll look at you up and down trying to make sure they read to make sure you supposed to be here, who you here with, and how the hell did you get one?
We get extra check most times. I want to say we went to La Tech, and the man just came up to us just making sure, hey, what do y'all guys do? Like, do you see the shirt? Like, do you see the credential? Like, why you all up on me like that?
And it's been like that even when I'm at LSU for baseball games. You know, I get credentialed to go cover and watch games there. And everybody is, of course, you know, that is a heavily white influence. And there's very few blacks who actually get the opportunity credential-wise. And, man, they overlook, and it almost make you feel like, to a point where, like you said, that energy that you ignore. Because my mom told me a long time ago when I was younger, if you don't feed into the energy, you won't feel it back. But at times you feel it. You know, you can sense it, and it's like they want you. They putting it out to where they want you to feel that energy. Like, what are you doing here? Let me make sure you're supposed to be here. And how long are you going to be here? Because it does go back to what you said. You denied one of ours because of you here.
That's right. And my son often tell me, he said, well, you could deal with the white people because you're different. And I am different when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I've got this beautiful inner instinct that won't allow me to go there.
And you grew up in an era in which, for most people, you saw life from a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, that perspective, small town Louisiana, where I'm pretty sure white people ran that town for sure.
It wasn't a town. It was a rural area.
Okay.
Just a one road, no street lights, just people on the farm, all farmers. So I'm not going to say it was New Road was the township.
To do something, you said we're going into town.
Parents had to. It was. I grew up tough.
Yeah.
And it paid. And I was thinking about those 4 kids that they found in the jungle in the Amazon.
I heard about that this morning. That was interesting.
40 days.
And the youngest was 1, 4, 9, and 12.
Yeah. But the daddy said this morning, the reason they survived is their upbringing. They were taught how to live off the land. Mm-hmm. See, if they were shelter parents, you don't want your kids to live off the land like these people. But if you over-shelter your kid, you're going to kill them. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be able to handle the real stuff that's out there.
My mom taught me that at a young age. You know, I used to be, hard to believe, as loud as I am today, very soft-spoken, timid, shy. And she told me, she said the very first thing she told me that made me understand, a closed mouth does not get fed. You know, she used to tell me, go over there and do this. Tell them you want this. And I'd be like, no. And so the same with my son. These days, you know, I slowly incorporate him to build his confidence to go do things, but it's the morals and values in which you instill in your kids, because what I have seen with a lot of people, especially my age, the parents sheltered them from so much, saying, I don't want them to go through what I went through. But what you went through does not have to be the exact same, but it built you into a parent that was able to go out and be successful in life and maybe give them a better quality of life. So You have to give them an opportunity to understand because it makes them appreciate better. Because if not, they become the spoiled brats that always give me, and they never understand the true appreciation and the value for things and how hard you have to work for things, because hard work pays off. But if you just gonna constantly mess it over thinking it's easily replaced, somebody's always gonna give it to you, and you sitting around waiting on a handout because you feel like the world owes you something. That's that entitlement that you see with, especially with a lot of young people today.
I agree. We're about to take a break.
All right, you hear the man. He said we'll take a break. Let's do it. We'll be right back. More of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador. I'm Perry White, and my man on the board is Garrett Edgerson.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? There's a place. Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
We are back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, he's Roger Cador. I'm Perry White. I'm my man on the board, Garrett Edgerson. We making up the team as we roll right along. We just got through talking about, as we say, the good old days, basically. Ain't that right, Coach?
The good old days, yes. That's what they call them. I don't know how good they were, but they were good days.
You know, it's before we move on, I had a dream this weekend, and I talked about it on another show. But the dream, it settled in on me, and it was a dream, I guess, of the good old days. And what this dream basically did for me, it made me remember when things seemed like they were so much simpler as a person. When I was a kid, I can remember my family originally from Lake Village, Arkansas, a very small town, maybe of 1,000, 2,000 people. And during the summers, my mom and everybody else would send all the kids to Lake Village. And it gave us an opportunity to realize what our roots were, where we come from, and that small country rural living, going out there peeling peas, filling the bucket up with pecans, cleaning the greens, and going fishing and swimming in the lake and doing all those things. And it just made me realize a simpler time in life of slowing down and enjoying the moment, especially in the world that we live in today that's so fast-paced, snap of a finger. Everybody want what they want right now, instant gratification, and the phone. The fact that, a lot of times you miss out on the moment because of the phone, because you're constantly trying to record or you're on the phone. And it was something about that dream that just made me, it's basically what it told me was slow down and enjoy the moment, because I can remember as a kid, I was so ready to be grown. I was so ready to be older. And now that I'm the greatest memories are back then. And sometimes you wish you can go back and just relive just a simpler time in life in which things seem like they were just slower and just more involved when you talk about families and people without so many distractions of the world today.
I would agree with you.
And it was something about that dream, man. And it just brought me back to a time, especially like, when you grow up in a small place and you go back and you look around, a lot of times those families have died off, people have moved, and you start to look, things have grown up, they look different. It's like, well, I remember when so-and-so lived over there. I remember we used to hang out and play over there. Man, it was something about that, what's that nostalgic moment that, I don't know, it overcame me, man. It made me slow down and say, in this world that we live in, slow down and enjoy the moments. Enjoy the moments for the good times that they are, because they'll become history. And when you look back at history and those past moments, you will wish that you could go back sometime and enjoy the people and the places and the things that meant the most to you.
I agree with you.
Let's jump into it. College baseball is going on. Super regionals this past weekend started Friday. You had Duke and Virginia in one of the regionals in the Charlottesville. Duke took that game against the number 7 seed Virginia. TCU and Indiana State. This was interesting. Indiana State, the number 14 seed. TCU getting a regional victory up in Arkansas. TCU initially was not supposed to host this regional. Little bitty Indiana State was supposed to have this regional at Indiana State because they were the higher seed, but because they have the Indiana Special Olympics up in that area, they were forced to have to move it because of the lack of resource when you talk about hotels and restaurants that was available. Of course, the Indiana Special Olympics has been held in that area for almost, I think, 40 years. And so ultimately TCU got to host this regional. When you look at that, a team having to move because of circumstances, does that take away what's supposed to be a home field advantage with Indiana State having to go to Fort Worth to TCU?
Well, in many situations, home field advantage is huge, especially this time of year. Not having it certainly played a key. I mean, I don't think they still would have beaten TCU because they really are playing good.
Yeah, TCU gets the victory in that game, one in the Fort Worth Super Regional 4-1. Oregon or Roberts, two teams taking on, going up in the Eugene Super Regional. Oregon getting that victory on Friday, 9-8. And then this was a good one, two SEC teams. The SEC, of course, in baseball as of late has been the power conference. Florida, the number 2 seed, taking on the number 15 seed, South Carolina. South Carolina, if you can recall, won the College World Series some years back. Florida gets the victory 5-4. Then you go into Saturday, Virginia gets the victory. They come back 14-4 on Duke. Wake Forest, the number 1 team in the nation, of course, the number 1 seed, had the Winston-Salem Super Regional. They beat Alabama, one of the better SEC teams, 5-4. Southern Miss, a team you know well. You took them on a lot at Southern, especially in those regionals. They get a victory over SEC Power Tennessee, 5-3. Florida again, South Carolina. Florida closes out, wins that Super Regional down in Gainesville, 4-0. Texas, another team over the years. I remember growing up, Texas with a really good baseball team, getting a win over Stanford, who also has traditionally had a really good baseball team, 7-5 over in the Stanford Super Regional. TCU closes it out gets the victory over Indiana State 6-4. Oral Roberts comes back, get the victory over Oregon 8-7. LSU in a game that was postponed seems like for about 6-7 hours. People were really upset because Saturday was a beautiful day, but all the threat of severe weather around the area, people sat around for about 6 hours. LSU finally gets it done by 2 touchdowns, 14-0 over Kentucky, a team who they dominated during the regular season. And then you look at yesterday, Southern Miss taking on Tennessee. Southern Miss gets that victory. Wake Forest 22-5 over Alabama, man. When you talk about when you red hot to put up 22 runs on somebody, you really red hot. Virginia getting the victory 12-2 over Duke. Tennessee over Southern Miss. LSU closes out their super regional at Baton Rouge here 8-3 with a victory last night over Kentucky. Oral Roberts claims their super regional over Eugene, up in Eugene over Oregon 11-6, and Stanford over Texas 8-3. And then the games today that are finalized, the rest of the teams going in, Southern Miss, Tennessee, Texas, Stanford. What do you think about those super regionals as we get ready to head to the College World Series?
Yeah, that's 2 good ones yet to be decided. I tell you, that Texas-Stanford game is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an interesting. Stanford can swing the bat. Texas is playing pretty good. It's going to all go down to who's got the best third pitcher, because this is the third game now. Who's got the best starting pitchers there? And then Tennessee and Southern Miss not getting that home field advantage for Tennessee hurt them. Hurt them. But I think they can put Southern Miss away today. Even though Southern Miss is playing pretty good, I think Tennessee's got a chance to put them away.
Traditionally,
Well, Mississippi. There are a lot of good baseball players in Mississippi. And in that Hattiesburg area, you can draw from Alabama, Florida, Mississippi. You can draw from a good area, and then you're in the Sun Belt Conference, which is a good baseball conference.
Go ahead.
It's a good mid-level baseball is good. Let's not make any mistake about it. There are a lot of good teams that are in the mid-level conferences, and they're going to be pretty good in baseball.
Yeah, UL has shown over the years that they're a pretty good baseball program as well. And then you move on to the College World Series up in Omaha, Nebraska. Have you ever had an opportunity to go up to the World Series in Omaha?
In 2003, when Wiki won the Dick Hauser Award, we were able to go up there and have a news conference and got to see a couple of games.
What was that experience like? Because I've always said that's on my bucket list to go up to the College Baseball World Series.
Well, it's in a much better stadium now. It's a really great experience. It's about college baseball. It's a college baseball town. The people know how to do it up there. And there are a lot of things that you can enjoy. The venues and everything all around the baseball field.
Did you eat an Omaha steak?
I did. I did. Let me just say this. The steaks in 2003 were better than the steaks we had in February this year. For some reason, the steaks didn't do it. I've eaten better steaks here in Baton Rouge than they had at Omaha.
Yeah.
In February.
Yeah, but 2003, that was a memorable steak.
Oh, my goodness. And you know what? Sadly, that place has closed.
Really?
And yeah, the guy, the sport writer who was up there with us, told me, he said, that place is closed now.
So you had a spot that you traditionally had liked that was there.
Well, that particular place was famous for its steaks. And it's not a good-looking place, an old building that's been there since 1900 and early 1900s.
That's where you find the good food at.
Yeah.
It's like a hole in the wall.
Hole in the wall.
There you go.
And, you had all of the people in the world, famous people who came to Omaha, ate a steak there.
Put that picture on the wall?
The pictures were on the wall.
Roger Cador picture better be on that wall.
I don't know if I took a picture.
You was too busy cutting into that steak.
Yeah.
Now you talk about coming out of the College Baseball World Series as the teams get ready to go there. But something even better, teams have been selected for the HBCU All-Star game that's going to be held during MLB All-Star Weekend. Talk to me about that and the selection of those players.
The players, have been selected, and 50 players, and they do 25 on each team. And I don't know if it's going to be East, West, North, South. I'm thinking it's going to be East, West, the name of the team. But there'll be the Swingman Classic with Ken Griffey Jr. Name is all on it. And I just think it's a wonderful event for the kids. You know how many kids who play college baseball will never will never get to do what they're doing. This is extremely special to be able to play in the same venue on the same week that the best players in the world are playing, and the best minor league players are playing the future game. You're on that same stage. It's as good as it gets.
As a coach in today's world at an HBCU now with a platform like this, meaning you can go out and get some guys and say, look, you play well, they'll find you and put you in this type of game. How would you use that in terms of recruitment now, especially with this platform? Because this has to, at some point, you may not have the resources necessarily at your particular school, like the big league school, the bigger schools, the Power Fives, the Group of Fives, but to be able to have this type of platform, of course, has to be some form of recruiting tool.
I would think that there will be players who are going to some schools. Now say, if I go to an HBCU, I could have this opportunity of a lifetime. And they can play in it multiple years. They're not just picking seniors, they're picking the best kids. If you're a freshman, you can play 3-4 years in this game. You know what kind of thrill this will be? You know, some of the greatest players going to wish they had that opportunity.
Then maybe they should give names of the teams of historical coaches.
Well,
like team this, team that, team Cador. No?
Only you would sit there and think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because it gives, at the same time, acknowledgement to history. And I always love to incorporate history to what we're doing, especially when it's something that's just starting and it's the first. Maybe some Negro League history names or previous HBCU famous coaches. I mean, it got to be a team Cador. Who else has as many Hall of Fames around as you? Team Cador and Team Roger. You just name them both after you, right? Just give them all.
Oh, my goodness. Let's not do that. But that's something we could throw about, you know. We're going to be, after the game, I talked with the people at MLB on Friday, and we talked about being able to tweak, see how this go, and then make tweaks as we go forward. Because next year we'll be in Arlington, and then the following year we'll be in Atlanta. And I think those next 2 years, because we're in heavy populated community of African Americans, we're going to be able to get a big draw. The other thing that they're going to do, incorporate, which they're thinking is having the bands there for next year.
You know, you got to get Southern.
Well, you know.
That's the best band in the land.
Well, you got Texas Southern Prairie View that's right there, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you would hate to not take them since they're right there. You got me? And when you talk about expense, you know, the travel is not going to be that difficult. So
you know who's actually closer than Texas Southern in Prairie View? Grambling.
Well, Grambling might be something they'll consider. It is closer to Arlington than Texas Southern.
Gee, what you think about that? You into the bands and baseball as well, so putting band and baseball together is right up your alley.
That's different. Although I want to say Southern Band did a field show on a baseball field a few years ago in New Orleans.
Really?
It was.
We took Southern Band when we our first urban invitation to California.
Yeah, I know that one. I remember that one.
We pit Southern against SC, and I thought it was going to be an earthquake. It was so much energy in it. Oh, my goodness, it was so much energy because they were going at it. And we took Southern Band maybe for 5-6 years to California with us.
Gee, you've traveled and saw a lot of baseball stadiums, and you are a big fan of baseball. When you look at incorporating this game, HBCUs, in which we love, into the other thing that you love, MLB, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a beautiful thing. Just like Coach said, you don't get many chances to be on the same stage as the best players in the world. So for these guys to get this chance is really amazing. Especially, I went to Seattle last year, and I love Seattle. Like, I would move there if they had more people like us in Seattle. I would move there, but they don't. But I'm pretty sure everybody is going to love Seattle. So
what are your favorite stadiums? Give me a favorite stadium that you would love to see a MLB All-Star game in.
That hasn't had one?
Yeah, but for you to want to see one in.
I want a Yankee Stadium. It's my team. I would like Wrigley just because Wrigley's old.
Historical.
Wrigley and Fenway.
Yeah, Fenway.
Since they're both 100+ years old.
Yeah.
I think that'll be very interesting to see.
Coach, you got a favorite stadium around in MLB that you maybe the scenery or maybe the field, the historical backing?
Well, there are two parks that stands out right off the bat, and I've been to both of them. Nobody ever talk about Pittsburgh, the field in Pittsburgh.
It's beautiful. The
Oh,
backdrop
my
is beautiful.
goodness. Not very big, but it is so beautiful. And then Pac Bell where the Giants play. Obviously, it's another beautiful park. You know, I went to the All-Star game there.
Is that with the bay behind it?
The bay behind it, yeah. Oh,
Barry Bonds knocked many balls in that.
It's Oracle Park now. I went there last year too. It is beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
It
those
is
two.
beautiful.
I mean, those two have gotten my attention. And but there are a lot of, I'm going to tell you, Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, built in 1962. And it is still one of the most beautiful parks. It's the third oldest park in Major League Baseball. They could play there forever. They did it right.
Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll get ready to close things out. He's Roger Cador and Perry White. He's Garrett Edgerton. More Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White when we get back.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Take your fun full throttle with a single touch. There are places to fly high, swing low, or make the old bell ring. Your targets are in sight. Better your game by playing ball of almost every variety. Need to catch your breath? There's a place for it. Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. BRAC, we're more than a playground.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge. Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient, they're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
All right, we're back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Cador and Perry White. Of course, he's Roger Cador, the legend. I'm Perry White, and my man on the board, Garrett Anderson, holding it down, making sure everything runs and flows well with us as we get ready to put the end and the stamp to another show. Man, it's been a good one today, Coach.
Yeah, they're all good.
They are. What's that on your shirt? What you wearing today? What is that? Major League Baseball Players Alumni. What is that all about?
Well, this is the arm of Major League Baseball where the players who are retired and they are members, and this company help them with insurance, and if they get into financial difficulties, they help them get through it, and they provide them with some type of opportunity to do clinic during the course of the year, and they can make a few extra dollars. So it keeps them involved in baseball, but also does a lot of other things that if they ever get into need, they're there for them.
Life after baseball, of course, you got into coaching. What else, if you would not have gotten into coaching after life after playing baseball, what was going to be Roger Cador's profession?
I really have no idea. I never really thought about anything else. I've been fortunate to get into this thing first as a basketball coach and then as a baseball coach, and to spend 40 years, literally. It's just a beautiful thing. I mean, I was fortunate,
I think you could have sold something. I don't know what it was, cars, insurance. I don't know.
I sold used cars.
Did you?
Back in 1984. I was a used car salesman.
How was that business for you?
I did well. Because I was an assistant basketball coach, and I would go from 5 to 8. After I got off of work, I go from 5 to 8, and I was one of the top salesmen.
That's a little known history. Y'all didn't know that. I didn't know that. Coach Roger Cador, the used car salesman. I can see you on one of those commercials now telling them, come on down.
I was pretty good because I was honest with people, so things worked out pretty good.
That's interesting. I never even knew that. But
not a lot of people do.
Oh, well, they know it now, Coach. I didn't know you sold cars, and now that you look at life, man, retirement. Everybody most people have a hard time with retirement. It doesn't seem like you're having a hard time with retirement because you're still very involved with the very thing you love, and that's baseball.
Yeah, I'm involved with community service, baseball. I travel. I do take time out for myself and travel.
That is key and very important.
Yes, and, I've enjoyed that. And, I've got people in many places of the world that, I'm in constant contact with, and some of them I go and visit.
I know you go in and get those hats, man. You haven't been rocking the hats lately because we've been wearing these headphones, but you are a connoisseur of hats and a collector of hats, man. And your hats tell a story, especially from the many different places of the world you've been.
They tell a story, exactly. And actually, I'll be going down to Central America maybe in the next week. I've got some issues. I need to go there, and we'll be doing a clinic there in September with Major League Baseball Players Association. Something I started down there. I started with the clinic there. I got them involved, and every year now we're talking about doing 3 clinics in different parts of the country in Panama. So I'm very pleased with the fact that we've been able to do things to help kids all over the world.
What's the talent like down in that area?
It's not like Dominican Republic. It's Dominican got 13 million people. There's 3 million people in Panama.
And is soccer still the big
Soccer
sport?
is the big thing there. But there are some there are some area in the small towns that play baseball. They're just not as talented. And
is that just lack of exposure?
No, it's lack of the physical. You need physical talent. And these are not very physical people, many of them.
Yeah.
Now where the brothers are, where you got the brothers are in Cologne, but that's where all the players used to come out of Cologne. But Cologne has been abandoned, and they're in Chiriquí, which is up in the wine and coffee country near Costa Rica. They play pretty good baseball there. And right outside of the Panama City area, they got a place called the Sugarcane area, where Carlos Lee and them guys come from. They're really playing good baseball there. Now they're signing more and more kids out of Panama because there are more effort putting into it. The parents are making an investment in their kids and putting them in good leagues and training. And you're getting to see more and more. We do the thing with the younger kids. You know, we try to get the younger kids like 8 to 12 years old or 13, so we can try to make sure they get exposed to the right fundamentals.
That's right. You know, you was talking about those Omaha steaks earlier up in Nebraska. What's some good food when you go down in Central America, Panama, in that area?
Well, you know, this is really a food. Ooh, really, really, really good food.
Give me a specialty that you like.
Well, you know, I don't even know the name of it.
Okay, you just know exactly what it is.
And the thing is, if you could deal with the 15, 16 million people in that city, Lima, that's the thing. You're in there. There's got a lot of people in that city.
You packed in that thing.
Packed in it.
And you're a big guy, so I know you stand out, huh?
Stand out.
Yeah.
Stand out.
It's like the big black guy in town.
Big black guys there. You know, no big thing there, you know. Hey, man, I enjoy going in and Colombia has got good food also. They you know, but they're not going to be spicy because they can't handle the spicy food. Now, I don't know if I hadn't been to the area where the majority of black people are, and there may be a little more spicy food there. But you're going to find in Panama, food going to be a little spicier because you got a lot of black people who came from Jamaica when they were building the canal, so they can handle the spicy food.
That was always another place on my bucket list to go to check out the Panama Canal. I read about it so much as a kid, heard about how expensive it was, but most importantly, how important it is to the world of shipping and commerce, man. It has to be a sight to see.
It is a sight to see how they walk the boats through that canal. The same way they did it in 1903, they do it the same way now. They walk it through. One ship is high, when it goes down, the other one comes up. I mean, the water goes away, come back. I mean, it's just.
Are the mosquitoes bad?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know. I've never even been bitten by a mosquito.
Okay.
And I've been going down there 15, 16 years.
I just wanted to ask that.
But they used to be
really?
When they were building the canal.
Those was the stories because of malaria and so many. Yeah.
And that's how the blacks got there because they brought in a lot of Chinese to build it, and they couldn't handle the jungle fever.
Yeah.
Malaria. And the locals couldn't do it, so President Teddy Roosevelt said, we know where the African Americans are, go to Panama, or go to Jamaica, all in the Caribbean. That's why they went and got them, brought them in. Rather than pay them gold like they paid the white people, they paid them in silver. How about that?
Like we started the show, we always come up on the backside of it, don't we? The low end of it. You know, as we get ready to wrap things up, what's the rest of your week look like of retirement?
Oh, I don't know.
That's good life when you say, I don't know, you just living, you just enjoying yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's hot right now, so you know, I'll see what happens. I don't have anything planned for this week. I know I'm doing a Zoom call today with your friend Mark Gray.
Yeah. Shout out to Mark Gray, MLBBro.com.
And I'm sure at some point there'll be somebody with Major League Baseball I'll be talking with. Usually something comes up and they want to talk about an issue, so we talk. So.
You know, you was talking about Ken Griffey and how important he is to the HBCU All-Star game that's coming up during MLB All-Star Weekend. He was recently on a show called The Pivot, and I was listening to him on it because, of course, he brought a style to baseball with the hat backwards. and they was talking to him about the hat backwards, and they thought maybe it was just a black thing, like a culture thing. He said, you know why I put my hat backwards? He said, I used to always wear it, because, of course, his dad played in Major League, King Griffey Sr. He said, I used to always put my dad's hat on, and it was too big, and it always fell forward. So he said the best way I would turn it backwards, and he said, that's how I did it. Everybody thought I did it because it was some fashion thing. It had nothing to do with fashion. It was just the hat used to be too big.
Too big. Makes sense.
I never knew that.
Well, that's just why you know, people, when they talk, you find out, just like you didn't know I sold used cars.
I did not know. What was the best-selling car at the time?
Toyota.
Whoa.
I was at a Toyota place. Adams Toyota on Plank Road. It doesn't exist anymore.
What you told him? You get more miles for your buck?
Well, if it was a good car, I was honest with him.
Yeah.
I didn't try to jack the price up.
Mm-hmm. These days, man, you got all these places you get a car from, man. But I did not know that, Coach, and I'm glad I found that out. Because I knew you could have sold something. What it was, I don't know. But you would have convinced me to be able to buy something, just like you convinced people for many years to support Southern University baseball, and you're still getting people and convincing them to support HBCU players, in which the HBCU All-Star Game will be held during MLB All-Star Weekend. And we thank you for that and all the work that you consistently put in to make sure that we are not forgotten on this level, and the many years, 40-plus years of dedication that you put into this, which is why I think you're in more Hall of Fames than I can count. But there's a reason why, because of the work that you've done and continuously do.
Well, I appreciate it. It was a joy, a labor of love, and a lot of joy doing it. I mean, there were some hard times in there, but they all was worth it.
Well, it was worth doing today's show. As we've reached the end, of course, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, get that notification every time we go live, spread the word, share this video as we try to get the views and the subscribers up, let people know that, hey, this supports not only HBCUs, but we talk about whatever. It's just not sports, as you heard, and you always go back and listen to the shows. We'll talk about any and everything life. Because when you have a guy with as much wisdom, and you were a life coach. As a coach, you didn't only teach the game, but you taught life. You were a mentor, and you was a father to many. There's a lot of stories and a lot of morals and values and things that you can learn from a guy like yourself, in which why I enjoy doing it. And that's Roger Cador. I'm Perry White. That is Garrett Etchison. And that has been all for today's show. And we'll catch you next week. And we hope that you guys join us. All right? We got to get out of here.